Hello everybody, this is Adam here for A Strings, and I am with Andrew Guyton, owner and head luthier of Guyton Guitars. Now, we've touched on the transporters. I say touched on. We've talked quite a bit about the transporters. Now, what I'm going to do now is basically, I want to delve in and I want to find out where all this started and how we are here today, basically.
Okay.
So, have you always been a guitar builder? Have you always messed around with
It's
stuff like
that? It's like most people. It started in my teens.
Okay.
You know, you buy your first guitar, but I was never happy with it, so I was always tinkering.
Right.
And that carried on for years. But then I sort of had a career change forced on me in 2000.
Right.
So, but up until then, a couple of years before that, I started building guitars. So it was just one of those chances, and it's kind of a now or never. So that's what I did, and trawled the shops looking for repair work, and that basically paid for me to build guitars, which I virtually gave away.
Right.
To start with, it's just to get people playing them, get people.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's where it started. And then shortly after that, probably a couple of years after that, that's when it happened within a month, meeting Mark and Brian May.
Right.
The two and that's when it really took off. You know,
Right.
the phone rang one day, and it was a friend of mine, Martin Booth, and he said, "How do you fancy refinishing Brian May's first guitar?" So I used to do refinishing for Martin, who's another luthier. So a few conversations later, and trying to get Pete Malandrone's number, Brian's tech.
Yeah.
And fast forward a few months, and I was at Brian's, showing him various examples of my work, and that's how it kind of started.
Right.
So got the first job out of the way, and then they thought, this is okay. So they started giving me more work, and then just said, "How do you fancy the idea of replicating Brian's guitar?" So that's kind of how it all started. That's when you go from struggling like mad to all of a sudden you're what's the word?
Well, you're refinishing
you're not struggling anymore.
The red special.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So, I mean, just in terms of the idea of that must have been like, because that is, when you say Brian's first, that is the red special, isn't it?
Oh no, this was
is a different guitar.
Yeah,
this
was the guitar, his first ever guitar when he was 7 years old.
Oh, okay.
And it was an Egmont acoustic, and that's the very first guitar he played.
Right.
So that was as nerve-wracking because it's irreplaceable. So it's, but he'd made mods on it, but it was, I think he'd swapped it with somebody who'd stripped the finish and varnished it, and he wanted it to be restored to exactly what it was like when he first got it for his 7th birthday.
Yeah.
So that was my first job, and that was the sort of kickstart that I had. That's sort of the lucky break, really.
So how, obviously, once the relationship started, then was it after that? Then you were building the replicas then, or had you started?
No.
The red special work.
I hadn't even considered anything like that, but it was after this. Took the guitar back, and that's when they asked me whether I'd be interested in doing them.
Right.
Because they didn't realise I built guitars as well.
Right. Okay.
So
So that
I
was
leapt on that one.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, definitely. So obviously, for those out there that know their red specials, your name is obviously, a Guyton red special is up there. I don't think that there is anything better, is there? Apart from stealing Brian somehow, I think.
Yeah, I've been fairly lucky that I did have unhindered access to it.
Yeah.
Went there for 2 days, stripped the guitar down to a certain extent anyway, and take detailed measurements. So they're pretty good. I'm very proud of them. They're all built now. They've been built for several years now, but
yeah. And it's not just it's not just the commercial builds. Obviously, you do sort of one-off customs of these of the red specials. The props for film, obviously for the new film that's coming out, and I've been lucky enough to see the different eras that you did, 70s and 80s, and Andrew and I were just sat at the computer just looking at these things. Look at that scratch there! Look at that scratch there! It's like, that's held on with tape. This is amazing. But this is proper nerd level stuff. But this is what we love, and this is why we're doing it. So, just going very very quickly back. So, custom builds for red specials. We've got one here, and we will get some shots for you. Now that thing is like otherworldly, isn't it? Yeah. So talk about that one for us very, very quickly.
Okay, that was the customer wanted Bubinga. He's a drummer,
right?
But he's always a good guitar player as well. But he loved the look of Bubinga kits, with the gold trim. So he wanted a guitar, to look like that. So it's Bubinga veneer, highly figured Bubinga veneer, but the core of the guitar is still the oaken block board, mahogany neck, but it's got the Bubinga on the headstock. But the metalwork is all gold.
Right.
Switches as well, they're different. They're toggle switches, but recessed. So they're kind of got the feel of the sliders, but without the... they're just a little more positive.
Right.
They've got a slightly sort of higher quality feel to them, and it's just a different take on it.
Yeah.
So, but it's also got the instead of the volume and tone, instead of a drilled, painted dimple, if you like, we've actually set rubies in there. So, but it's fantastic looking guitar.
It's amazing, and there'll be loads of pictures. While we're talking about it as well. It's insane. So, am I right in saying that anyone can come to you and say, I'd like a red special, but like this?
It's got to be visually different from the original.
Okay. Oh, that's a stipulation then from...
It has to be,
Okay.
And again, it's they're all going to be one-offs. There's no repetition.
No.
But they have to look different to the original.
Okay. So same... template.
Exactly the same shape, same electronics if they want, but like veneers, so things have got to change.
Okay.
I've done the red specials and made 50 of those.
Yeah.
And that was strictly limited to those 50.
Yeah.
So these have to look different.
So how do you find, and it does feel like one big name dropping session, but how do you find Brian is in terms of your freedom to work with that red special sort of, let's say license, but that red special model?
They're very, very good. I mean, I work with Pete probably more than I do Brian.
Of course, yeah.
And I think because I don't take the mick, they do give me a certain license, but obviously there is these 50 that I don't want to upset the owners. It's not so much between me and Brian, but it's me and my sort of previous customers. So
that is a
differ.
Good point. Yeah. If you're buying into one of 50.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse, I think, than you buy into a limited run of something and then the company says this is now a production model.
Yeah, which is
good. Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, but it's quite a dishonourable thing to do. Really, So they have to look different.
So am I right in saying that Andrew's one is that one of the 50 then? Or was that a custom build as well?
No, that was a custom build because he's kind of in the circle. He's a supplier. That was done outside of the 50.
Ah, okay. Yeah. That's cool. And we'll get lots of pictures of that one as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything different with that one?
Apart from the logo, I think he did.
Oh, that's right.
Didn't have the logo. Don't think it's signed either. So it's
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a really cool.
I think so. Yeah.
I think you can definitely see the difference between, a Brian May, and I'm not to blow smoke, but you can see the difference between a standard and
yeah. The original was hand built over maybe 2 years, and mine are kind of almost the same. So it's...
Is that a time length?
It varied.
Really?
It varied depending on orders. You know,
Yeah.
Some people waited longer than that. Some people less.
Yeah.
So it really depended on the volume of orders.
Yeah.
But because you're making them by hand as well, everything's just scraped by hand. Everything's so they do have a different feel to production guitars.
Yeah.